Hello there, it's PS Plus Extra and Premium time once again, the mid-month update that throws even more games at you, this time landing on April 16th. I'll show you gameplay and tell you a little about each game, and your job is to choose what to play. Oh, and check me out, I have a video sponsor. Nacon are releasing more of their games into PS Plus, and I'll showcase them a little later in the video. So let's do this, starting with the Extra tier. Dave the Diver is finally coming to PlayStation, and immediately straight into the catalogue. The retro pixel art inspired single player outing is tough to categorize. It's an action adventure, it's a casual RPG, it's a sushi and farming tycoon, and it's filled with mini games to break up the flow constantly, and great little animations which are honestly a joy to behold. We play as Dave, and our day job is to run a sushi restaurant, but when we aren't in the kitchen, we are diving into the waters below to find the fish and other sea life we intend to sell. Underwater, we are armed with tranq rifles, harpoons, and a trusty net, with exploration the main driving force when beneath the waves, especially as each night the underwater world changes, a new adventure every single day. Above the waves, we run a sushi restaurant and must find ways to bring in more customers, delighting their taste buds. As the story evolves, underwater societies can be found and side missions unlock, like working with mermaids and dolphins. And there's a free DLC coming in May, all about Godzilla. Rah. Another day and date new release is arriving on April 23rd. Tales of Kenzera Zao, a side-scrolling Metroidvania platformer. After making a deal with the god of death, we are sent on a quest to resurrect our father. One of the key attributes of Metroidvania games is the moment you spot an unreachable ledge or door early in the game, which can only be gotten to after progressing through the story, unlocking a new ability, and then venturing back hours and sometimes days later, retracing our steps, revisiting areas, finding new avenues to explore. The game's director made this game to represent his own experience with grief and losing his father, and has made the story as poignant as possible, with aspects of sadness, anger, vengeance, and celebration. The combat looks solid, and the range of abilities looks interesting, and unlike the other games in this list today, Tales of Kenzera Zao releases on April 23rd. A party game coming this month is Oddballers, a dodgeball-themed multiplayer game. The premise is simple: grab a ball and throw it at your foes, while simultaneously remaining unhit yourself using the dodge, duck, dip, dive and dodge technique. Once the basics are learned, each map evolves to include crates, TNT, electric fences, porta potties, and even lawnmowers and sheep. It's not going to last you a long time, but Oddballers is a fun evening with friends and deserves a spot in your library. There are more game modes than dodgeball to unlock, like football, or soccer if you prefer, and tons of cosmetics too. Oddballers supports up to 4 players on the couch and 6 online, and it's possible to play solo with AI bots too. Next, a few games you don't need to wait for, as they are already in the PS Plus Extra catalogue right now. Session Skate Sim is exactly what the name suggests. Session is a simulation game that prides itself on skateboarding realism, recreating real-life skills and tricks, and throwing yourself into skateboard culture, and a few parked cars and flights of stairs too, while you learn the ropes. Session allows us to create our own character and earn cash to customize our look by mastering the art of skateboarding. With regular updates and DLCs constantly releasing, Session Skate Sim continues to evolve. When I first started playing, there was a limited time TMNT crossover. Good times. Another sport which couldn't be further from skateboarding is Blood Bowl 3, a tactical turn-based strategy game. American football and Warhammer collide to create the most brutal sport known to man or orc. Set out like the board game, we use dice rolls and our own cunning to outscore the opposition, with both a solo campaign and multiplayer modes to play through. And every 3 months, new content is added, like the race of wood elves. Session and Blood Bowl 3 are on PlayStation Plus Extra right now. If you'd like to know more, there is a link in the description below. A game we'll be waiting a little longer for is Animal Well, releasing on May 9th. An indie Metroidvania game with 250 rooms, each with a puzzle to solve. Unlike the other games of this style, Animal Well has no combat at all, and instead we avoid danger. Analysing what is a threat and what is friendly is the biggest test. We are told there is more to this game than this, but we have to wait to find out more on May the 9th. Animal Well looks ultra indie, and surprisingly, it's only available on PS5. Racing fans, your game this month is The Crew 2 on PS4. In a persistent open world, we are unleashed and sent speeding through the USA, from rocky mountain ranges to dense cityscapes. The Crew 2 isn't only about cars though, with boats, motorcycles and planes to jump into too, with the physics and controls of each mode of transport slightly different, enough to feel unique. And if we don't like a certain mode of transport, simply change instantly. The game features 4 different hub worlds, with each having their own theme and play style. Off-road, street racing, pro racing, and just freestyle mode. All set alongside the story of you becoming a racing icon. With years worth of additional content unlocked immediately, racing fans can be prepared to lose tens or maybe hundreds of hours to The Crew 2. Next, something so niche, it's interesting. Construction simulator on both PS4 and 5. Our town has fallen on tough times, and we decide to renovate everywhere to help the community, because not all heroes wear capes, some drive big yellow heavy-duty machinery. We take part in all the steps of construction, from getting the materials and driving safely to the location, creating the foundations, pouring in the concrete and building skyscrapers, and even placing the letters on the front of the building. Nice. Construction sim difficulty ramps up considerably, but the better we do, the more clients come a knocking for more work. This sim isn't for everyone, but maybe it's for you. Something equally niche, but also bizarre as heck, is Nour Play With Your Food, an experimental food art game. Essentially a selection of mini-games where food is presented, and we mess with it. From popping kernels to create popcorn, to adding ingredients to dishes that don't really need it. To play this game, you must go in with all expectations wiped from your mind. Because it's weird, it's hella weird. Definitely something to try when nobody's watching you. Next, a couple of LEGO games, LEGO Ninjago and LEGO Marvel's Avengers. We've covered the basics of LEGO games so many times in the last 2 years, I think we all know what to expect. The addicting element of these games is unlocking the heroes and villains, and in these 2 versions, the movies are the focus, retelling the story from the big screen in a way only LEGO can. So either take on a shark army, or assemble a team with a giant green guy hulking out. LEGO games keep on delivering. Speaking of delivering, Deliverers Mars is here and sees us finishing astronaut school when a mysterious message from our father is found and your dad went missing years ago. We strap on a spacesuit to try and find him, and in first person we navigate our ship, pressing buttons and solving anti-gravity puzzles before leaving the ship and exploring in third person. Using both our brain and our brawn, we delve deeper to find answers about our dad, with loads of flashbacks to play through with dear old dad always pushing the narrative forward. It's not as good as the original Deliverers the Moon, but it's still okay. Tactical RPG gamers, take a look-see at Miasma Chronicles, complete with turn-based combat. Set in the future of the USA, it's been torn apart by something called the Miasma. We take control of Elvis, no not that one, who finds out his glove can control the Miasma. This sets up a long apocalyptic question of what is the Miasma for and why can we wield it? And there's many villains who want that ability for themselves, making everyone a threat. A pretty interesting concept if I do say so myself. Okay, we got a few more. Take a look at Raji, an ancient epic, an action-adventure game based around Indian culture and Hindu deities and mythology. Something I'm surprised we haven't seen more of in video games in the past. I haven't played this one and I'm unable to find reliable reviews to help here. If you have tried this, could you leave a review in the comments? And finally, Stray Blade is an action RPG from 2023. The premise sees us lost on a mythical island, and from this point, I read some reviews. Each I checked out pretty much said avoid this game at all costs, with poor level design and weak combat mechanics. Or maybe the reviewers are totally wrong. Who wants to try it to find out? As always, when new games are added, older catalogue games are removed, and on April 16th, say goodbye to Ghostbusters the video game remastered. The closest thing we'll ever get to a Ghostbusters 3 movie. Soul Calibur 6 has had enough fighting and is walking away. Bassmaster Fishing and Real Fishing are swimming away, I guess, and also leaving our Necromunda Underhive Wars, Chicken Police Paint It Red, Fighting EX Layer, R-Type Final 2, Gunvolt Chronicles, Luminous Avenger 9, Everspace, and Dangerous Golf. Regardless of if you have them downloaded or not, they will become locked away from April 16th. RIP. Okie dokie, onto the PS Plus Premium and Deluxe offerings. 3 additions to the classic lineup this month. MediEvil, an action hack-and-slash PS1 game in which we play as a resurrected knight from the year 1286. This here is the PS4 version, remade in 2019, which is already in the PS Plus catalogue, by the way. The 90s version looked like this. Games have evolved, haven't they? This version must be for the game purists out there. And if you're wondering, the other MediEvil game on PSP, named MediEvil Resurrection, is also in the library too. You know, if you really love Sir Dan here. Next, we have another Star Wars classic, Star Wars Rebel Assault 2, one of the early attempts to make cinematic gaming. In reality, it's a bunch of pre-rendered videos with our vehicle overlaid upon it. Cutscenes try their best to mimic the style of Star Wars, but it does sometimes come across as a parody rather than a legit Star Wars story sometimes. Isn't it crazy to see how far Star Wars games have come over the years? And last but not least, Alone in the Dark, the new Nightmare from the original PS1. It even has the OG tank controls that we haven't seen in many years now. New Nightmare is the closest in terms to being a Resident Evil game, with similar puzzles and jump scares and level design. And for that, I think it's worth a try. So that's our month. You're sick of my voice, I can tell already. I'll get out of your ear holes. I'm Adam, you're awesome. It's been a pleasure. See ya.